Lydia Thorpe, of course, has been a member of the Greens for a while. She was in the Victorian Parliament as a lower house MP here in Victoria. She's only been in the Senate in Canberra since the election last May. And Lydia Thorpe, she's leaving her party because the black sovereignty movement is more important to her than representing the Greens.
This country has a strong grassroots black sovereign movement full of staunch and committed warriors. And I want to represent that movement fully in this parliament. It has become clear to me that I can't do that from within the Greens. Now I will be able to speak freely.
If she can speak freely, what does it mean for the Greens? Before today, Labor needed the Greens plus one in the Senate. They needed the Greens plus one crossbencher to make anything law. Now, Labor need the Greens plus two crossbenchers. Crossbenchers can be tricky for a Prime Minister to deal with. It includes he's got to go and get two votes. That's assuming he's got the Greens on side for a bit of legislation. He then would need to go and get the votes of, say, the ACT's David Pocock, Jackie Lambie. There are two senators representing her movement, including Jackie Lambie. There's One Nation, so Pauline Nation and her offsider. And then, of course, there's the United Australia Party's Ralph Babbitt. You will hear from the only Clive Palmer Party representative in the federal parliament, also Victorian. What does he make of what's going on with Lydia Thorpe? And he joined me earlier.
G'day, Ralph. What an exciting time to be alive, eh?
Indeed. Look, let's launch straight into it. You said exciting time to be alive. Well, let's start with Lydia Thorpe. What do you make of that?
What I make of that, the crossbench is about to get a lot bigger, about to get a lot more exciting. The government's going to have to come over to the crossbench to ask for favours, basically, to get their legislation passed. And guess what? We've just made their life harder, and that's only good for Australia, making the government's job of passing terrible legislation more difficult, I hope, anyway. I'm very happy, though, to have Senator Thorpe on the crossbench. I look forward to working with her in a collegiate way, and I look forward to, collaborating where we can for the benefit of our great nation.
Have you spoken to her at all?
I haven't, but I will make sure to get down to her office at some point today to say hello and to give her a hearty welcome to the crossbench.
Have you got advice for her? It's a different thing being in the Senate, being on your own. Okay. So advice.
If it's one thing that Senator Thorpe doesn't need, it's advice from anyone. Senator Thorpe is let's put it nicely, a firebrand. That's what she is. Advice is something that I'm sure she absolutely will not take. But I do want to say, welcome Senator Thorpe to the crossbench. I hope you find your time here exciting. And if you ever want to join a UAP and take a Australia first approach and stop inserting racism into everything that you do, then come on over.
I'm not sure that's going to lure her in, to be honest, Ralph Babbitt. Serious question. Can you see yourself agreeing with Lydia Thorpe on issues? I just wonder, you've seen her in the Senate. Look, can you see other things that you might agree on?
Look, if Senator Thorpe ever came to me and said, hello, Senator Babbitt, I love Australia. I don't believe that we should divide our nation based on race. I would say, Senator Thorpe, I agree with you. And I think that's where she's leaning towards, at least partially in a roundabout way. But whatever we can do to make sure that the voice does not pass is exactly what I'm going to be trying to advocate for. I believe that the voice is racist. I believe that we should not be dividing our nation on the colour of skin. Rather, we should take a page out of Martin Luther King's book, which is judge us by the content of our character, not on the colour of our skin.
I'm not sure how much Lydia Thorpe is going to be attracted to that language, Ralph Babbitt. But I do, and that's okay. I mean, the Senate, everyone can agree and disagree, and that's all part of the crossbench, I guess. But I wonder if you can see. My question was really around. We aren't clear yet if Lydia Thorpe would back things on beyond climate change, budget bills, things that the government might be trying to do that may not be cast as climate change. Can you see some agreement or maybe even working together? Would you sit down and chew through legislation with someone like Lydia Thorpe, just so that you can both understand it?
I'd be more than happy to sit down with absolutely anyone to chew through whatever needed to be chewed through. My concerns at the moment are cost of living. My concerns are making sure that we look after the energy security of our nation and we look at nuclear power. My concern is that we do whatever we can to make sure that the average mum and dad who are sitting at home suffering right now under massive pressure has a better life moving forward. Those are my real concerns. My concern is not dividing our country. My concern is making sure that Australia is strong on the world stage. If Senator Thorpe wants to talk about those kinds of issues, I'm more than open to do it. And I, as a UAP senator, will stand hand in hand with her. Absolutely. Now, if Senator Thorpe approaches me, comes to my office and says that's what she wants to talk about, I'm happy to do that.
Ralph Babbitt, as you can hear, UAP senator, of course, Victorian senator as well. Ralph Babbitt, I sort of haven't had a chance to ask you questions. We've just recently had the donations laws, the disclosures. I just wonder how you are now feeling. I think I'm right. Clive Palmer's the biggest single donor in the last election. That was, of course, to his party, to the party. But you're the only seat, so you're sort of probably the most expensive seat in some ways ever elected. How do you see that phenomenal outlay of money for the smallest of returns? Well,
Ralph, ideas are forever. That's what's important. It's all about ideas. Now, we had to spend that money to get our ideas out there. We didn't get any free press. We didn't get any love from the mainstream media. The only time that they even mentioned us was to talk badly about our policies and about us.
So do you think it's a good return? Do you think it's a good return on the money?
It's a great return because now we've started a national conversation about family values, conservative values, putting Australia first. And that's very, very important. And you can't put a price on that. Now, love or hate Clive Palmer, at least you know where the money's coming from. It's coming from an Australian citizen who loves his country. That's where it's coming from. Now, Labor and Liberal, they spent about the same amount of money. But where's that coming from? We don't know. It's a mismatch of donors from all over the place.
We know where some of their money comes from, I suppose. And if I could, can I throw another question at you, Ralph Babbitt? Because there are people like you, there's people like Lydia Thorpe, and let's say if you're addressing a voter who maybe didn't vote UAP this time, but had a look at your stuff, didn't vote for you, thinking about it, you're often accused of massive overpromise, massive under-delivery. I mean, Craig Kelly was in the paper as the next Prime Minister. He's not even in the Parliament. But just that idea that you and Clive Palmer and the party, you say these grand, fantastic things, but you don't have the plan to back it up, you don't deliver. What would you say to that?
We absolutely have the plan to deliver. But what we are is we're sitting on a crossbench right now. We're not sitting in government. We are what the Liberal Party should be. We are the true party of the centre-right in this country. Now, our time will come. Our time may not have been at the 2022 federal election, but our time will come. As our country slides more and more towards collectivism, as the standard of living for the average Australian continues to decrease, as our elected representatives keep selling our nation out to foreign powers, foreign influence, people will naturally gravitate towards the United Australia Party.
Aren't you the problem, Ralph Babbitt? Forgive the interruption, but like that, you're the very problem, aren't you? Like if the Liberal Party were to adopt more of your policies, then they'd never get a seat in the centre of our big cities. They'd never win government.
No, look. If the Liberal Party were to stick to their values, the values of Menzies, I would encourage everyone to get onto the Liberal Party website right now and have a look at their We Believe statement. If they stuck to their traditional Liberal values, they would be in government right now and they would be a force to be reckoned with. So just so you know, I'm sure you know this already, the centre-right minor parties like myself, we got approximately 10% of the vote if you combine all our votes together. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see more cooperation between all the minor centre-right parties out there, form a stronger coalition, and we will eventually be a force to be reckoned with. Maybe not today, but definitely in the future.
Thanks for your time this afternoon, Ralph Babbitt. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
He is, of course, the United Australia Party representative in the federal parliament.